What's poppin', y'all? We back with another episode of the Squid Games Aftermath podcast. I am your host, DeAndre, player 288, and I have the opportunity and privilege today to have two guests on from two different locations. We got number 3, Ike, baby in the house.
What's up,
That's
DeAndre?
what we're calling him. What's happening? And we got the beautiful, illustrious Emma PO number 21. What's happening?
Hi guys. Hi DeAndre. So happy to be here.
Yo, did she get beautiful, illustrious introduction?
Yeah.
And I got like, and
you got Ike,
three
baby,
from up in the woods in Maine.
We got the
Ike, baby.
handsome, scruffy, clean shaven, chested,
right?
Hip thrusting, secret magic Mike undercover. Ike,
Dude, don't tell him about the
baby.
DMs, man.
Man, sneaking his
What's
DMs.
up,
man.
y'all? I got a girl. She's gonna watch this.
Hey,
Careful.
They can still sneak in. Just sneak. I was gonna sneak.
Yeah.
Just sneak.
Okay, they can sneak in. I'm gonna ignore it.
Yeah.
But he don't ignore it. Yeah.
Depending on number
He's
of
faithful.
followers.
He's
yeah.
faithful. He's faithful. But he'll send feet pics though.
Yeah.
I do send feet pics. I'm tempted to flip the camera right now.
Man,
The dogs are out.
Hey, you got to wait till the end of the podcast. You might get a special treat. So that means y'all got to hold on tight.
I feel like people watching this are like, yo, they're gonna talk about the show or
Yeah, come on, let's heat it up.
All right, we gonna get into it. So we'll start with Emma, and then I can answer right after her.
It's a good call.
So when you first, what made you apply for Squid Games the challenge?
So I actually had never seen the actual Squid Game show. And I was in the conference room with a few of my coworkers, and they were like, oh my gosh, they're turning it into a reality show. There's an open casting call. Anyone can apply. Emma, you would be super obnoxious on this. Like, this would be the perfect high stakes, inappropriate environment for you to be yourself. And I was like, absolutely, sign me up. So I took my lunch break, went out to a little coffee shop, and I just sent in a 1-minute video, super unedited, and was like, whatever, I'm just going to do it. And then when I finally heard back, and there was even like a 1/1000th chance that I would be casted, I was like, this would be the coolest opportunity to like prove to myself that I could do something like this. Because I think everyone, I'm myself and don't get taken very seriously or as a strong person. So I was like, this is the place to do it. If I could survive in these stakes. So yeah, and then obviously ended up working out. I'll let you go.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn. You can go.
I was waiting for DeAndre.
I was building.
Okay. I did it for the clout, the fame, the fortune. I had just gotten a girlfriend at the time, so I did not do it for the chicks. But I do want to shout out Abigail right away. That's my girl. But overall, in all seriousness, I did it just for a sense of adventure. It just popped up on my Instagram feed one day, and I was like, this seems pretty cool. And so I put an app in, kind of forgot about it for a little while, and then got a call later. I was like, that's pretty cool. I told all my family about it. I was like, they actually called me back. How about that?
What?
And then I got a second call. Then they asked me to fill out some medical forms. I was like, wait, what's going on here? This is starting to seem kind of real. And then before I knew it, it was like, I don't know, a month or two before the show, they were like, yeah, you're coming. So
you're in it. Yeah.
It was,
You in it.
It was
Okay.
pretty crazy.
That's what's up. Good stories right there. I like that. So you guys both find out, you're on the show and whatnot, and you're getting ready, and it's the night before you leave. What's going on in your heads that last night at home?
You go first, Ike.
I felt like I was ready. I'm not gonna lie and say I just kind of wung it. I prepped for this shit. I trained and I prepared. I was like talking to all my family members. In a couple months before, my brother-in-law bought me Squid Games board game, and we played that with my family, and it was kind of fun at first, but there was a lot of rules, and we all started to get a little bit angry at each other and shit. And I was like, is this what I'm in for here? And I like upped up my physical workouts quite a bit. I was playing a ton of chess to try to get a mental workout in, and so it was all prep. So really the day before, it was just kind of exciting, getting a cool flight to the UK, and it was all just exciting really at that point, and I felt locked in. I was ready to go.
It
Locked
was
in.
locked in, and the chess prep is honestly really impressive.
Thank you.
Can't say there was any prep going on my end. I was absolutely just excited. There was no part of me that was worried or nervous. I was like, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna meet some cool people. Like, if I win $5 million, I win $5 million. And if I don't, I got to say I did this. But yeah, I didn't watch the actual show until 4 days before my flight. So I watched the actual show a few days before. I was like, God, I hope this isn't like, I hope it doesn't happen like this. I hope I don't get shot when I get there. But yeah, I mean, seeing the like big black private Mercedes truck like pull up into my family's driveway. My mom and dad are out there taking pictures of me with the Uber driver. I was just like excited. Nothing like that has ever happened to me or anyone I know. So I was pumped.
Yeah, no, they definitely laid out the red carpet for us and had us thinking
Yeah.
like, wow, is this
sick.
all for me?
Yeah.
Like, you got the name on the outside of the car
Yeah,
too.
what?
I was like, whoa.
Literally, my mom knocked on the driver's window and was like, "Can you come out here and take a picture with my daughter?" I still have the picture. I literally took a picture with this just man who was hired to pick me up. It was horrifying, but
yeah. No, they definitely had us thinking like, wow, like they really gonna take care of me in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They had us
Psych.
fooled.
yeah.
Well, then
Did you lose
so-
weight, DeAndre, on the show?
yeah. I lost
Yeah.
12 pounds.
Yeah.
So
I lost like
it
7
was-
pounds.
Yeah, it was dire measures in there. And
Yeah.
I had to take some time to gain it back. But
Yeah.
You're
We
looking good
move.
now. You're looking great.
Yeah, I'm
And you
trying.
look
I
great
just
in
came from
there.
the gym.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
you
you.
both
Was
look
that-
great.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was talking to me. So.
Yeah. It's my bad.
Nah, so we go and you guys get on the plane. We head out to London and we quarantine for a couple days, and then it's time to get ready for the first challenge. And so what's going on in your heads? We'll start with Emma when you guys are on the bus headed towards the first game.
Nothing but excitement and absolute utter confusion as to what was going on. I had no concept in my mind the lengths that we would go to for these challenges. I didn't realize how real it was going to be and how, big of a set and just everything. I was not prepared. So I was really excited on the bus. I sat next to player 222, Jordan, Aussie mustache man. And we had just a really great conversation. He was really good at like kind of calming any nerves and just keeping things casual. But going into the actual challenge, we all were separated by player numbers into those tents so they can get us with our squibs, mic some people up and things like that. And because Ike and I were both low numbers, below 50, we were in the same tent together. So they were the first people I met even before red light, green light started. So having some people that I was like, okay, I'm making alliances now. Like my alliance game starts in this tent way before the actual challenge does. So honestly, I think just having, even if it was such a fake alliance, and I did not think that I was going to cross that finish line in red light, green light. But for me, I was
That's
like,
not
this
true.
is going to be my best friend in there. And having someone to look forward to after that was kind of one of the only things that got me through. It's just knowing that like, okay, I know someone that's going to be in there when I cross the line. So it's going to be worth it to try. But yeah.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, Ike.
Well said, Emma, first of all.
Thank you. Thank you.
For me, it was actually back to the hotel in quarantine. It was pretty lonely in there. I'm not gonna lie, and they're very strict. I don't know. I heard rumors about them getting after people about talking when we would go get food and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of the Premier League team Tottenham in England, and my boy Ginu was wearing a Tottenham jersey in line one day to get food. And so I was very strict about going by the rules. I didn't want to get kicked out. I could not go home to my family like that. But when I saw him wearing that jersey right next to me in line, I kind of looked over both my shoulders and I was like, nice jersey, bro. And he was like, thanks, man. And I knew from then on, I was like, this guy's going to be my boy. I got to find him when we go in there somehow. And it was just really lucky that, like Emma said, he had a low number with us. And so when we got in there, he was immediately my boy. And he was my boy all the way through. And when we were in the tents waiting, it was Emma that brought us all together. We were all just kind of chatting, doing our thing, like being a little bit discreet. But Emma was like, hey, everybody, bring it in. Let's talk it over. And we're all like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
and
shut up.
It was really Emma that like brought everyone out of their shell and like started conversing with one another and became friendly. And then Emma and I became tight pretty close right after that, and we made a nice little group from there. And I didn't think Emma made it at first. None of us did, because she was a ways back, and my group with Gino that went through first, you don't see who made it until, what was it, the next day, right?
Yeah.
Because we spent a night in the hotel and then came back. So I was like, damn, that sucks, we lost Emma.
There was this
and you got there late the next day,
right? There was this awesome, so yeah, we like started to make these friendships, like very baseline friendships in the tents. And there's so many nerves going through your head. It was nice to have people just like kind of talk to while you're in this red light, green light set, standing behind the line. And so me and Ike were just like messing around, and I think I was like barking at one point. Like I was behind the starting line barking when they were like, all right, we're filming now. And it was silent, and I'm really bad in moments of silence. I like have to feel it. So I started barking at people. But anyways, the game starts. Ike and Gino are like so ahead of me. I'm already feeling like defeated. I'm like, there's no chance I'm making through this game. And eventually Ike crosses the finish line, and I'm in a standing up frozen position, and I see him cross, and we just make eye contact, and he like looks back at me. I'm like, obviously I can't move or gesture or anything. What'd you do? Like you went like this or something. And
I went like that, and then I was like, let's go. Like,
yeah,
got this basically.
And then he walks out. I eventually finish. We go back to the hotel after red light, green light. So none of the people that passed before my group knew who else made it through. And then the following day, when we're in kind of behind the set, they're just getting everyone ready to officially go into the dorms. Players 1 through 50 still are in this one section, and I walk in the room, and it's Ike, Ginu, Favor, and Dawson all sitting there, and I walk in, and they look at me like they've seen a freaking ghost. And they're like, how are you here? But yeah, that was awesome.
That's dope. Yeah, definitely. I think the numbers that were close to you, kind of that really was the manifestation of, kind of, I guess, your alliance or friendship per se and relationships in the game. I mean, I'm close with the people that was in my number line and whatnot. And so it's funny. I wish they could kind of go back and give us like the rock, because they were slightly filming. You remember the people taking pictures of us in line waiting for getting the red light, green light? I wish we could go back and kind of see us like before we were actually like friends. And just see how we were like interacting and whatnot, because it's always funny to see the beginning. Yeah. And we're like, okay. And then after you're good friends and whatnot, you could see like the beginning. So I definitely wish we kind of could see that. But definitely that's cool that you guys had a little crew going on in there. Emma was the matriarch bringing everybody together.
Or I could have been the reason for all of their demise, like the reason for putting everyone on the spot and a target on their back. But sorry,
nobody would look. Everybody had to
everyone got eliminated anyways. So
exactly. A lot of low numbers.
Yeah.
So, yes, we go through red light, green light. So before I finish through that, when you guys first, we go through the practice round. You see the set; it's amazing. Go through the practice round. All right, we did that, and so it's time to get started. What was your guys' strategy getting through that?
I had
red light, green light.
Yeah. I was in the front of the line at first, post practice round, and then I was like, you know what, I don't want to be in the front. I don't want I don't want to be the first for people to see get eliminated, and I also don't want to be in the front and get trampled by a bunch of people behind me and have that be the reason I move. So I kind of pushed my way to the back and was like, I'm going to take it slow and steady. I'm going to move as slow as I need to. I'm going to stay on my feet. And then I quickly learned that was kind of the worst way you could go. Slow and steady and standing with your hands out because you were freezing and in pain. So I ended up launching myself onto the ground a few times, which was also really bad. But yeah, Ike, what was yours?
I tried to play it safe originally, but my theory was to be right behind like the first or second group right at the start of the pack, because I thought they were the most visible. So I wanted to stay behind them, and I was hoping maybe the cameras like kind of wouldn't catch me if I slipped up a little bit, that the guys at the front would be the biggest target. Yeah. So I saw a lot of people diving, going to the ground, but I just didn't think that was the move because it was so damn cold. I was freezing in there. I was running with my hands in my pockets like most people. But I mean, right when we took off, I saw Genu sprint forward and just like penguin dive like onto his stomach to start out, and I was like, holy shit, maybe I should do that. But quickly it didn't seem like the move. So I don't know. I was trying to get through it fast while not being at the front of the line and being as much of a target. So I made sure to stop well in time of the song finishing. Genu gave us some good advice right before it started of how the melody of the song goes and exactly when it would end. So we had a good feel right from the start, which was some nice advice. From there, just tried to blend in really.
Yeah, you gotta blend in, just like, and just kind of fit in where you can fit in. So y'all make it through the game. Congratulations, player 3 and 21 are moving on to the next round, and they are still win the money. So, Mike, we move on, and it's time to go into the dorms. So when you guys first walk into these dorms, what are you guys thinking? Are you trying to make a lot of friends? Are you trying to stick with this little group? And who else do you become friends with?
First thing I did when I walked in was take a look at, obviously everyone was looking at the games that were on the walls and trying to kind of decipher what that meant. There were clearly a few new games that we didn't recognize. And I'm walking through the walls. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give these cameras some drama. Like, I'm going to give them a reason to like put me on the screen. And I remember going in like the last line of bunk beds, the last row by myself. And I'm just looking at the wall and I'm like, wow. This is amazing. Like, I'm going to do this. Clearly didn't make the cut.
Oh my gosh.
And then also immediately when we get in there.
Like, who does she think she is?
Yeah, they're like, we don't need you, actually. We don't need you.
Scarlett Johansson in the building.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The second we get in there, Genu's like, he's hitting the ground running. He's strategizing. He's kind of trying to decipher things. He's picking out where he's going to sleep with Ike. And I'm kind of following them around being like, I'm gonna be in your alliance too, like include me. And he does not want to include me, which is fine. And I'm like pissed at him. I'm like, come on, I want to be in this little squad. Let me in.
I think it's safe to say if I did not advocate for Emma, she would probably.
Dang, it was like that?
Yeah, it was like that. Genu was coming for me, but he warmed up to me, so it was fine.
Dang,
but yeah, I was just excited. I was pumped getting to sleep with, I don't know, 180 other people. Like, that was world's biggest slumber party. It's gonna be awesome.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Ike?
Yep. I was more taken back by how well the set was done and how well it resembled the show. Because that was another thing I did to prep was I watched the show twice through, and I don't know, tried to like key into any major moments or subtle things too. And I was like, damn, this looks exactly like it. So that was cool. And the people Emma are referring to that walked around and tried to analyze the games, that's me and Genu who did that. We walked around and tried to see what we could get from the walls, any kind of clue we figured. I mean, we got to the point where when we had an idea the cookie game was next, that maybe they'd pick who got which shape based on where we were sleeping, because we noticed it was slightly divided into 4 different sections, and that if you go from left to right, we were sleeping in section 4, so to speak. So we were really tempted the night before to switch beds into a maybe a safer spot. We were really trying to dive into any sort of scenario that would give us the upper hand. So that didn't end up working, but
yeah, man, it was
just cool.
I wish they would
walking in there. It really was.
Yeah, no, definitely. I wish. I don't know. There's the clues in the wall. Like, yeah, they told you the games, but maybe they could have put clues in the wall that told us about the tests too, and then what was going to happen. I mean, maybe they could have put a telephone booth somewhere in there, like on the wall, or they could have put, 2 random like figurines pointing at one figurine, and then like an X above it. Just little things like that. I think would have been cool. Yeah, they could have put 6 boxes. That would have been really cool, and then everyone could have like, what is this? Like, is this another game? I think that would have been a nice touch. Netflix, if you hear this, holler at me. I can help y'all design these games. So, so we get in the dorms. Y'all making y'all way, making friends, seeing everybody. I remember meeting both of you in the dorms as well. I think I saw Ike first walking around with Genu. You guys were walking around a lot, but I was too. So we probably just ran into each other on our circles and laps. And Emma, I remember. I feel like I think we officially met was it when we had food one day, and I think we were eating on the ground.
Yes.
We were eating on the ground by the water fountain, by like one of the kitchen where you go to the kitchen, and we had a long convo that day with a couple other people, just talking about meeting each other and whatnot. So I vividly remember that because it was like to the point where it's like, dang, like this is. I think that was one of the first meals.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was the first meal because I remember being like, this is going to be my opportunity. Everyone's in a chill kind of less stressed sense of self right now. So I'm going to try and meet other people because if I keep following Gino and Ike around, I'm going to look sus with them. So no, that was a good conversation. And that was talking with you and that other group was kind of the first time that I really started to make just friends outside of alliances. So
yeah, no, definitely. I was trying to meet as many people as possible, and I luckily came across y'all too. So we move on, and then all of a sudden we find out that 200 has been eliminated. What's going on in your guys' head when you find this out?
I mean, first thing I took away was, oh my God, there are so many people sobbing during his elimination. And I think, had we only been in the dorms one day, like was it the first
1 or
day?
2 days. 1 or 2 days. I don't think it was the first day.
I mean, already it's such a unique and immersive experience that the emotions are high, and I get it. But I remember looking around being like, you guys are so fake. You don't know this guy at all. At least I know. And maybe these people were his closest friends, but it had only been a few days. And I'm like, I don't know. The decision going through Danny and Kyle's mind too, I don't think at that point I knew that it was them. But I do think I had a conversation with Danny. I don't remember if it was before or after that elimination where she like told me that she did it, or maybe it was right after. But that was crazy. So it was surprising to have that happen in the dorms. And I think that kind of set the precedent for knowing, okay, the challenges aren't going to be the only thing in this game that's getting people eliminated. There's going to be a lot more to it.
Yeah.
How
about you?
I agree with that last part you said for sure. It set a tone where it was like we can get eliminated at any time. You know, it made the game seem very fragile at that point and out of my hands. The whole time in red light, green light, I was kind of like, this is a mind over matter. You know, if I will myself hard enough, I will pass and not get eliminated. But at that point, I was like, anything can happen to me at any time, you know? And it also, upon his elimination, it made me feel more on the side of that I have to be reserved.
Yeah.
Because he was a target, because everyone in the dorms knew him at that point, and he was a big personality, and it didn't matter that he was a nice guy and well-liked, you know? It just mattered it just mattered that he was known. So at that point, I felt like spending the rest of the dorms more reserved, and I didn't feel as much like going around and introducing myself to people. Just pretty much whoever I ran into here and there, I'd you know, obviously greet very kindly and be myself, but besides that, I wouldn't go out of my way to, I don't know,
that's so
make
true,
myself well known around there. So
everyone put their guards up. I feel like because we had that whole
innately from there, I didn't want more people to know me than had to.
You were laying low. You had what no one saw was that there was an entire 24 hours with no challenges or eliminations. So I think everyone's guards were down, just like making friends and meeting people, which was really cool. And then having that come and just kind of, I think it just hit hard for everyone. And they were realizing, okay, it's not a happy meeting people from around the world, like making friendships, which absolutely happened, but it just got a lot more serious.
Yep.
Yeah, people stop being friendly and start being real.
Yeah.
If y'all know what that's references from. Good. I'm glad. You know what that's from, Ike? You look like you don't know.
Yeah.
What's it from?
Sure.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
You don't know.
It's from. Just tell him, Emma. Remind him. No, I don't remember. What's it from?
It's from The Real World. That's their slogan. People stop being nice and start getting real. So,
all right.
But hey,
all right.
It's a classic show. But anyways, we move on. So we spent a couple days in there, eliminated 200. And so it's time for the second game. And we walk into the white room for the first time. What's going on in your guys' heads when you get in the white room?
Insane asylum. absolutely, I was feeling mental, like, and not in the British way, like mentally ill. I was feeling. It was scary, and the lights were so bright, and everyone thinks it's tug of war. So immediately I'm like, where's Genu? Where's Ike? Like, they're strong guys. I know I have friendships with them. I'm following them. And Genu is so smart. So I'm kind of like, oh, I'm going to follow him wherever he's going. And I don't care if that's a fault on my character or my talents or skills. Like, I trust him more than I trust myself right now. So I think everyone was just in a big scramble to choose their line, figure out what was going down. And then ultimately we all got in line 4. It was kind of our whole original tent group.
Genu actually moved out of line 4. And did you see him do this?
Yeah, so we were all sitting there. We're kind of going through. Genu's like trying to walk through his steps, going through his head, being like, this is why we're choosing this. I'm just listening to Genu because I'm so like nervous and stressed. I can't even think for myself. And Genu's just got this gut feeling. He's like, I'm going to line 4. But so last minute. It was like, I don't know, 10 seconds before we had to stay in our lines.
You mean line 1?
Or yeah, line 1. Well, he moved from line 4 to line 1.
Yeah.
So in that moment, he was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to 1. You can come with me if you want, but I'm not telling you to because I don't want to be the reason for your elimination. And I just remember staying because I don't even know. I just don't think I could think quick enough. I was like, I picked here. I'm going to go with my gut, even if my gut was to follow Genu, which didn't work out for me. But yeah. What was going through your head, Ike?
Genu and I talked for a long time beforehand about a scenario like that, in which direction we'd go. I mean, I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but we predicted there'd be something like that. Like we'd have to choose which shape we'd go in front of. And maybe they'd mix it up and like, you know, the umbrella would actually be the circle or whatever. And we ultimately decided that we, for whatever rationale, would pick the last line or pick the umbrella and go the scary choice in hopes that it would somehow, you know, be
the opposite
upon itself.
Yeah.
Yep. And so going in, we basically said to each other, no matter what, you know, don't change our mind. Just do it. Our decision's made. It's like, you know, it's like in soccer, when you take a penalty, you pick where you're going to put it. And no matter what other variables there are around you, you just stick to that choice, you know? So going in, I was like, it doesn't matter what happens, no matter what anyone says to me, I'm just going to choose that line and it's going to be done with. And then, I mean, just a few minutes before, Genu was like, dude, I got to go to line 1. I was like, do you remember what we talked about?
Yeah.
And he kind of invited everyone to, and right before he went, sorry, Emma, but he like whispered in my ear, he's like, dude, you should come with me.
I heard it. I saw it and heard it.
Okay. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I'm just going to stay. I'm staying here. And then he went and I haven't seen him since.
Dude, that was like a gut punch. I knew that was going to happen too, because I knew it was going to be you and Genu against all odds. And I was like, if they're splitting up, I'm not going with Genu. He doesn't want me there, and I'm not going to be with him.
Dang. It was okay, Genu, you got some explaining to do, man. What's happening?
No, we already talked about it, but I'm happy for him, and I miss him, but yeah, I was pulling for him from that point.
Yeah.
On, but it ended up, you know, in a way, really not mattering at all which line we choose. It just came down to personnel, and so.
It's funny you say that.
Umbrella, bro.
It's funny that you say exactly the quote of the century. That's what the title of this video gonna be. So yeah, it's funny you guys say that because there's very contrasting opinions from line 4 and line 1. I spoke to a lot of circles. I talked to the circle leader, Mark. I talked to people in circle that was, you know, in someone in circle that was in the line before me. I talked to many people who got circle, and the main thing, you can tell me if you agree or disagree with this. The main thing that they say is, okay, and they give us a choice to pick and whatnot, and so we have this option. They say, well, the fairest thing to do is go line 1 through 4. Is that the fairest thing to do?
No, it's not the fairest thing to do.
I don't think so.
You go in there to come to a diplomatic decision, and that was it. That was the game, you know? It was a game of, I don't know, conviction and being convincing and a little bit of manipulation, and that's what it came down to, you know? I feel bad for Spence a little bit the way he was portrayed come the
Also-
showtime, but we all love Spence, you know.
Yeah.
We don't blame him. I think, unfortunately, to that point too, something the show showed that I thought was interesting was player 432 looking back at his line and
Yes.
trying to get some validation that it'd be okay if he picked Umbrella, because he was one of those guys. Credit to him, his mindset was it's going to be him before everyone else, and so if it comes down to him and the other three people are going to get eliminated, he's going to give himself the slight chance to pick Umbrella. So unfortunately, to that point, if we have had, you know, you going up against him, for example, he probably would have succumbed to picking Umbrella at the last second. But
That's
you know,
that's
Spencer,
what was shocking. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Spencer
didn't
in the
know that
same way
happened.
wanted to give him a chance. So yeah, it's too bad.
And you
Yeah,
know what?
no.
I respect Spencer for, you know, he's explained this on TikTok. He's explained it in his MIVs. He was like, I was going to pick Umbrella. Like, I respect
Yeah.
him for sticking by
Yeah.
that. He knew he was going to do that, manipulation or not. What was crazy was, you know, watching the show back and seeing that Brighton player 432 was being like, hey, are you guys going to be okay if I pick Umbrella? Because like Ike said, he would have picked it. If Spencer just backed away from the wall, Brighton would have gone there. But I respect Spencer.
That's a common consensus of everyone in every single line that I've talked to. I asked them the same thing. I'm like, do you think? And they all say yes, he would have. So I think, you know, we think differently now than what was then. I know Spencer has, I love you, Spencer. You my dog, of course, you know, my best friend in the game. But you know, his answer was just a little different now than it was back then. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I ain't gonna get too deep into that. But yeah, so you know, first group line goes in there, out. My line goes in there, out. And so yeah, Spencer's line gets up in there. And so also to touch on that is when you guys kind of like, did you guys get to say it? Because I know you talked to me. Did you guys get to talk to Spencer at all before he went in the room?
No, we didn't get to talk to him. However, and I will stand by this, because you got to talk to Spencer?
Yeah, I was the last person to talk to him.
Like before he made the decision.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. No, I didn't talk to him at all. I was too upset. I was sitting there crying, and I was like, nah, I have nothing to say. It wasn't because I was mad at him. It's just because I knew what my fate was bringing me. So.
Yeah. No, right before he went in, I was the last person to talk to him because I kind of wanted to sneak in there after he had just been berated by like 10 people. And I actually tried to give him words of comfort, which I thought might help build his confidence to not pick Umbrella, you know. But as I was talking to him, I could tell he was no longer focused on what I was saying, you know.
Yeah, he's not listening.
He had the 500-yard stare. He's just looking through me, and so I was really. I think the last thing I said was like something cheesy. I was like, you know, just follow your heart, man, you know, and just stay strong, because I was just trying to be nice, because everyone before that was like, you got this, you know, you do this, bro, you do this, and like I could see him acting up a little bit, and I was like, hey man, we're here for you, you know. But so I don't know.
Oh, you gonna tell me not to pick the Umbrella, but you didn't tell him not to pick the Umbrella?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you guys were giving off slightly different emotions, you know.
I mean, yes, I was a little more calm going
here to my audience a bit, you know. I could tell you're a little more feeling the moment. I was like, let's go, DeAndre. Don't you settle for that shit. But yeah, Spence was a little more follow your heart, man. You got it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole identity politic thing of it. You know, you see everyone, it's funny, everyone sees me in there, and everyone's I talk to, and you guys can speak on this too, is they knew once I was up there, like, oh, he's 100% not picking Umbrella. He's not doing it. Did you guys ever think I was going to pick Umbrella?
No.
Actually, when you went in, I thought for a second you might. It looked like there was 1 second, just going back in my memory, like, that you started to shift towards it a little bit, and your mind started to think for a second, but
because you moved shapes, right? Didn't you move shapes down
one? You moved a star, and it was like kind of started to inch a little that way. I was like, hey, no, you know.
Yeah.
But you stayed strong in the end. You went out like an animal.
I feel like I knew, DeAndre, when you were going in, you weren't gonna be the one that was gonna there was that minute of hesitation as you moved to star, but I felt like I knew you were the one person that wasn't going to be like, okay, I'll do it. Like, I'll just pick it. I felt like you were going to stand your ground. And if you got eliminated, you would get eliminated. And you did. So I wasn't worried. You had my back.
Yeah, no, it was more so the combination of everyone. I had my idea like, okay, if there's 5 seconds left, I'm going to go umbrella initially. So if nobody talked to me, that's probably what would have happened. And I would have stood my ground and made my peace. But, once everyone had their time to say something to me, I felt like it was impossible because just the walking. So they don't show this. Walking in there, we walk through this little tunnel and we wait there for a minute. They're getting on mics, make sure everything's good and whatnot. So we're just standing there in silence for a good 5-10 minutes. And then we pop up on the screen. But during that time, every single person is going through my head. Like, don't pick the umbrella, bro. And Netta coming up trying to mind control me and all these other people. It was just a lot. And I'm just thinking a million scenarios. And the main thing, Netta got his point across the hardest because he was like, people let him through to kind of like say what he needed to say. And he's like, control the room, say what you need to do. And I was like, man, is it even possible for me to pick umbrella? Like, I look all these people in the faces and it's like, nah, I got you. Like, I said that. And then I pick it and it's just like, I can't go out like that. And yeah, no, there was not really a high percentage chance of me going umbrella. I did at the end, think about it. But by the time it was like 3 seconds left when I like flinched and hesitated, I was like, there's no time for me. So I'm not going to run over there. The worst thing I could think would happen is run over there, get umbrella, and the clock has been ran out. So then I'm out and I look stupid. So
that's so true. That's so true.
Good
People would have still come for you.
Yeah. I feel like TV would have edited it to be like, you got it in time or something like that, because that's magic of TV looking back. But now that looking and the time being in my mindset going in there, I was going to control the conversation. I was not folding because I did not. One thing, you guys, if we get in there and we select a way, for people to pick which shape they pick, and if I have to get umbrella because of the way we selected and agreed upon, I'm fine with that. But what I'm not fine with is, well, this is the line order and that's what it is. No. That's not what I'm cool with. Anything but that. And that's what they were proposing. And I shut that down so quick. I'm like, you guys, there's the reason we're in here. You could think that's what you want to think, but that's not what's going down. So and you could tell me your opinion on this. If I'm looking back and if I could go back and now everything that I know now, what I would do is I would look at everybody and I was like, okay, we're never all going to agree on who should get what shape. So this is what we need to do. Everyone point to someone. And that person is the appointed leader. The leader is going to sign everyone's shape. And I would have been okay with that because I would have pointed at the woman in there, Laverne. I feel like multiple people would have pointed at her just because, she's the only girl in there. And she would have gave me triangle, 100%. I knew her, talked to her. I didn't know the other two guys, but I feel like she would have gave it to me and she would have been the leader. And then, worst comes to worst, I'll point to somebody else if there's like, it's not working out. But I would have done that. So.
Yep. I agree.
What do y'all think about that?
I think that would have been the most diplomatic way to do it because obviously they tell you can't play a game. There's no rock, paper, scissors. I think the race was like silly. Yeah. Electing someone to make that decision, I think would have made the most sense. And it gave an element of the game to kind of the challenge where, okay, well, you've already made certain alliances or friendships and that might help you in this specific decision. So I think that would have made sense. Yeah. And if only we could go back and do it again.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Ike.
No, I was thinking the same thing. And I kind of came up with a similar idea when I was just pondering how I would have done it if I'd gone in. And I think I would have done it like the four of us, let's start with circle and vote on who gets it, and you can't vote for yourself, then you go 3, 2, 1 vote, and whoever gets that one gets it, and then you go around until you get all 3 shapes.
Yeah.
And you just have to stick with it. So,
yeah, no, and everyone has to agree to that too, because it always takes is one person like, I don't want to do that, and so you guys are all screwed. So it takes cooperation, and I think that's the best way to go through it. I think my line would have been, we had some hard-headed people in there, so I would have agreed to anything that everyone agreed upon, and we all agreed on the race. And I talked to Laverne, and she got last place in the race. I'm like, why didn't you go to umbrella when you lost the race? You agreed upon it. She's like, I wasn't picking umbrella no matter what. So if you have people like that, then it's like you can't really I can't do nothing about that. I'm not about to just sacrifice because you don't want to do something. So then I guess we all got to go home. And I wish what the show would have did, which they did with every other game. Every other game they did this. They said select a leader. They did that for Battleship.
Yeah.
They did that for the vote outs.
Yep.
They did that for everything. Pick a leader. And if they said, okay, the first line, pick a leader, and everyone just picks somebody, and they didn't tell you the rules, that's fine. Pick a leader, and then they say this leader now has to make the decision of who gets what. That would have been 10. I feel like that would have been so much better. So much better.
But
you
know, I credit the producers though, because I think that was one of the most brilliant parts of the show. Exactly. I was thinking that the moment they put it live on the screen for us to watch, I was like, this is gonna slap when it comes out. This is gonna be great reality TV, because that's the beauty of not electing a leader. It's you get so many different personalities thrown in there. You don't know what's gonna come up with it. So
it was when they put that on the screen. The live stream. I wish they did a close up of just everyone's faces facing the board, because we were the first elimination, when they eliminated the first 4 people, because we didn't know what was going to happen to them after they didn't come to a decision, really. Right.
We thought like maybe they might be assigned or whatever, and then they all got popped, and we were like, oh shit, this is really happening. I mean, that was one of the craziest moments of my short time there.
DeAndre, when you found out that the front line got eliminated and that was going to have to be you? Or did you even think that was going to have to be you?
I knew it was me next. Well, the thing is, I didn't know they were going to get eliminated. So I was like, oh, it's going to be the one person without the hand on the shape. And then that's what the order was. I was like, cool, we got circle, we good. Nope. Yeah. And so I was like, oh my God. And then I'm just in there just like, oh, you can see me, my face is like, wow. And then everyone runs up and I'm listening, but in my head, I'm just like, why me? Like, why do I got to do this? And so that was it. And so we get in there and we get our umbrellas.
Well,
you get your umbrellas.
I gotta ask you, DeAndre, looking back at it, knowing how the events turned out, do you regret not picking umbrella and not giving yourself a chance?
In all truthfulness, slightly, yes. Just because I feel I don't have shaky hands. I don't, have anxiety. I don't have none of that stuff. So it's like, I feel like I could have calmly got the umbrella, because everyone says, the umbrella was doable. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
But everyone in line psyched me out, saying umbrella is impossible. It's impossible. I'm like, I don't know if you remember me saying this. I'm like, it can't be that hard. And they're like, it's impossible. I've tried it 1,000,000 times at home. I was like, okay, then I can't do it. Like, I'm just doing the odds in my head, and looking back, knowing what I know now, sure, because umbrella comes with a lot of clout too. Apparently, you get invited to all these things, so
it's 2020 hindsight. But I just
exactly.
It would have been harder for me to leave, knowing I didn't give myself a chance. Not trying to bring up old emotions and make you feel worse, but
no. I mean, it's fine. I mean, that was honestly, yes, that's the hardest thing to cope with. That was the hardest thing.
Because going in, I'm like, I'm gonna cut out this umbrella. I'm gonna do it. Screw it. That's the hardest one. But I think there's 4 or 5 of us that made it through.
Yep. Yeah. Well, 4 or 5 of us. But
yeah,
I definitely would. I definitely would have loved to give myself a chance. That's what the biggest thing I was upset about. Not about who. I don't care about the shape, but just the chance. And then so it is what it is. Mm-hmm. So we move on to an umbrella. Y'all get in there and y'all get y'all shapes. How you feeling when it's time to start? How you feeling?
Eager, very ready, because for the hour and a half or so leading up before going in, they took our water bottles, and I took a huge gulp of water and just held it in my mouth the whole time. So my mouth was killing me, like, before I got in. And so as soon as they gave me my cookie, I just filled my tin up with water. My cookie was just doused. So I don't know, maybe I just admitted to cheating to the world and Netflix, but I was trying to get any edge I could. I wasn't sure just my spit alone would be enough. So I had a bunch of water in my mouth going in that I was holding. I wasn't talking to anyone an hour and a half beforehand. I was murmuring, but I was ready, to be honest.
I don't even remember how I felt. Going in there, choosing a spot to sit, that was weird too. And then just kind of planting down. I think I was just so at peace with I didn't give up already. I knew there was a chance that I could do umbrella. And even when I started to do it, I was like, oh, this is actually way easier than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to do this. But I think I'd already made peace with the fact that I was probably going home, and was just kind of I'm going to go in there. I'm going to give it my best shot. If I get it, I'm going to be a hero. And if I don't, I get to sleep in a bed, a real bed.
So, yes, unfortunately, that wasn't in the plans. And so number 3 and number 21 had to make a swift exit off the stage. Brutal. I've lived through that with y'all. It was tough. I'm always, I'm not going to say umbrella gang, but it was unfortunate. And I don't want to hear all this. We should have picked line order. I've gotten arguments with the circle people about this. I agree to disagree. I ain't going to say arguments. I agree to disagree. You guys, if I was an umbrella line, I probably would have said the same thing. Line order. I get it. I totally 100% get it. But, you got to look at both sides of the picture and what they gave us. So that's a tough way for us all to exit. So when you guys get back home, you leave London and, you're back in your home. How you guys feeling?
Bad, really bad, and like embarrassed.
Not that good.
I was so mad at myself for getting sent home so soon. I was just like, because in the scheme of things, it feels like so long, and you quarantine or isolate in the hotel before filming even starts. And then you're really only filming for like 4 days. I think we were only in there for 4 days. And so coming home so soon to my family, they were like, "Oh, you didn't do very good, did you?" And that was hard, because then you think about it, the whole plane ride home, and you're like, there was $4.56 million at stake, and it was in the hands of a freaking cookie. That sucked.
Yep.
But we had an awesome group that went out, whether they got out in an umbrella, whether it was you guys who were selected to pick the shapes and got eliminated. Like, we had such a good large group that got out. It kind of softened the blow, because we had so much fun afterwards, kind of rehashing everything that went down.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, it was. I just remember coming home feeling so empty. And I mean, it's not often that you have a chance to touch greatness and like history in front of you, and you go into the show with the mindset of, I'm gonna do it, because I don't think you can really reach that level without truly believing that you're capable. And so getting eliminated was super disappointing, and added on to that, the fact that I reached out to everyone who knew I was there and told them I was coming home. It was like, you almost expect them to be happy to hear from you after not having your phone for a while, but it was almost disappointment. Like, we're hearing from you too soon. So it was, I remember coming home and all my common interests not being as interesting and not finding joy in a lot of stuff. And it took a couple weeks to fade, and then it was back to the routine. But it was tough for a while coming home, for sure. Depressing flight home, but a lot of really nice silver linings. I got some best friends out of it, and so best friends I'll have for life. Yeah,
definitely. No, I know I spoke to you like a little bit after we both got back and whatnot. Just check on you, make sure you all good. I had to check on a few people. It was tough. It was like the mood, the feeling. Just feel like you just got kind of, I don't want to say cheated, but you got an unlucky short end of the stick in revolving, everything and what could have, should have, would have been. But it was tough. It was very tough pill to swallow. It's mostly if you got an umbrella, that's most consensus. But I think if you got missed on another shape, you're just kind of like, okay, I messed up. It wasn't meant to be. But just having the umbrella, it was kind of a suicide mission. And that's what I even was thinking in there. I was like, if I pick this, I have a 5-6% chance of making it. That umbrella, that challenge is the highest, is the challenge that had the highest
elimination,
not non-success rate. So out of marbles, out of battleship, out of the circle of trust, out of even the what's it called, the platform, what's it called,
glass bridge,
the glass bridge. Out of any game, even red light, green light, out of any game, that one had the lowest success rate.
That makes me feel better. Whew.
Yeah.
So
no, I actually felt a lot better after watching the show and kind of playing out how I would have done. It was like, I mean, battleship would have been a lot of luck. I could have gotten eliminated in that. Marbles, I actually kind of like my chances, but it's close to a 50-50. And I think where I really for sure wouldn't have made it past was when they chose the eliminations and got it down to 20 people. I look at the group I would have been standing with. I would have been with Genu and Flavor and Preston, and I wouldn't have been picked. That would have been the group I was with, and none of them got picked. None of the guys I was close with. So I would have been eliminated there for sure. I wouldn't have made it past. At that point, I was playing reserved and not going around and talking to, specifically the 20 people that got through. I wasn't close with any of them. So I think that would have been, if I had been lucky enough to get to there, I would have made it past that. So I take a little bit of comfort.
Yeah, you got to look at the positive and be like, realistic and whatnot. And it's a luck game at the end of the day. Right place, right time. It's not really based on how fast you can run, how high you can jump, how smart you are. Like, it has nothing to do with none of that stuff. It's just, some players like, Sam. I love Sam. He didn't have to participate in Circle of Trust. He didn't have to participate in Glass Bridge. He never had nobody saying his name. He was in a warship you just chilling. So it's like some people have just the lucky right place, right time. Yeah. He just coasted. I mean, everything kind of just fell into it. I mean, he got picked on a schoolyard pick. It was just chilling. It's amazing. I'm just thinking like, wow, like this man really just like kind of just
won a golden path for sure.
Yeah, golden.
What shape did he get?
Circle or triangle?
Circle.
So one of the
good ones.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
not
crazy.
Just
So it's crazy to think about, but it's it's just luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, that sadly concludes our journey. But do y'all have any last parting words to say to the peoples before we get on up out of here?
Emma.
I'm not even gonna say either. Wait, I have a question. I have one question that I want to ask you both.
Okay.
How do you feel? There's a rumor mill, and there will always be a rumor mill. Who's to say what's true and what's not? How do you feel about the word on the street that there are many players that cracked their shape and were still sent through to the next round?
I believe it.
I mean, I believe it too. I think, it's a TV show. It's a TV show. You want certain storylines and you want certain things to happen. I get it. And that's pretty much what I have to think about. It's a TV show, and you invest in certain people at that point, and that's kind of your horse in the race. And if you have a chance to somewhat control it, that's what you're gonna do. And that's my piece on it.
I think as a whole,
I feel the same way.
That it wasn't very controlled by the show, but in small spaces it was. I mean,
yes.
I don't think it's appropriate to drop names per se, but I mean, I made eye contact with a player in Umbrella who looked at me and was chipping away at his umbrella, and then all of a sudden like dropped his thing. It was like, oh, man, and the next thing you know, it was like this player passed. It was like, wait a second here.
Everyone's like,
and meanwhile I just barely cracked mine, and I'm like throwing a temper tantrum.
I wish
getting through.
Hopefully someday Netflix will release some type of behind the scenes clip. If people could have seen the way Ike was yelling at this sweet old lady adjudicator,
yelling,
throwing a fit, and you know what, rightfully so, because with that much money on the line, I would have done the same thing. A hairline fracture of his umbrella. He is screaming at this sweet old lady adjudicator who's like, you didn't make it, you failed, and he's like, I made it, like, here, look at this. I hope the world gets to see that someday. But
I want to see that.
It was such a small crack in my umbrella that I like pressed it together a little bit to try to get rid of it. And so she was like, her reasoning was, she says, I think I see something. You got to pick it up and show me to prove that it's not broken. And I was like, well, I don't want to pick it up because that I might accidentally do something and break it somewhere. And
they said you could leave it in the tin. They said you could leave it in the tin.
And she was like, well, I got to pick it up to prove it. And I was like, don't touch my cookie. I like got all defensive, and things turned toxic between us. And eventually she did nudge it a little, and it made the crack more. So bummer. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And me the whole time I'm sitting there playing dead, and I'm like laughing. I'm like, this is so
jeez. I mean, look, it's high tense situation.
This laughing at me.
This is a high stake, and I understand, so
that's what she said too. She's like, I'm really sorry. I know it means a lot. And I just kind of like stared for
No,
it.
you don't.
Reply.
You don't understand what I'm
Yeah.
feeling right now.
Nah, you don't get it. Yeah.
You don't get it, girl. Let me on through. You let the man.
What do
You let
you
somebody.
make? $20 an hour doing this is 4.56 online for me.
I know. Come on. You like? I'll tell you what. I'll split you a little bit when I win. All right. Just let me
Yeah.
do this game.
Exactly. I was like, you got your card on you? Like, slip it on.
Zelle, do you have Zelle? Venmo?
Exactly. I would have had to make a
Seriously.
deal. Like, look, okay, what you want me to do for the cameras? I'll do something.
Yeah,
Okay, what
I'll
you
do
want?
anything.
Yeah.
I'll
do
kiss
anything.
somebody. Who you want me to kiss? Okay, we're gonna start a show, man. Just let me through the game, all right? So
Oh, they were
And I was
pushing
And I was in
love
a bad
stories.
mood for the next like 2 hours
Yeah.
after that. And Emma was really nice to me. She consoled me and
Well,
made me
you were
feel better a
eating
little
cake
bit.
plus, it
Daddy
was pretty
Dubai
get him to
also.
giggle.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
dang,
sorry.
well,
I steered
nah,
that,
you good, you
so.
good. Well, I'm proud of y'all too for making it. Y'all are great people. I know. I'm glad, more than a pleasure of getting the chance to meet you guys in the game. Hopefully, I can hang out in real life soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys, keep y'all heads up regardless of the outcome. You two are champions because you had the hardest path to go towards to get to the end, the path less traveled. And don't let nobody tell y'all nothing, man. Tell them, let me see you do the umbrella cookie in 10 minutes, and then we can talk. But until then, I don't want to hear nothing. So y'all two great people. I have high respect for both of y'all, especially being in my line, of course. And yeah, that's all I got to say to that, man.
You're
I
the
appreciate y'all
best.
coming on.
Appreciate it, man.
I need you in my life every day telling me that.
I got you.
Can you record that and like send it?
Let's
It's gonna be my new alarm in the morning.
I'm gonna send you positive affirmations at least once a week. All right.
DeAndre, you're the best. Thanks for having
Appreciate
us.
it, bro.
Appreciate y'all joining me. Till next time, y'all. We out of here. Peace and blessings. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Yeah.
Thanks for having us, man.
See you soon.